So what did we run into?
Misalignment of dowel pins on the new parts.
What's that A there for?
A-hole. There's a hole in there somewhere. So this one's too far this direction by about 30 thousandths. You weren't happy about this other one for some reason, but that one looks fine to me.
They both look a little off to me, but...
Well, we want perfect?
I mean, I thought that's what we strive for, but...
No, this is a Harley part. It doesn't have to be perfect. The problem is this is not coming out very quickly with grinding this method like this. Especially on a dull ass file that barely cuts.
That's right, you're polishing it.
Special handle.
Custom.
Yep. Oh, it almost went in. It's like right there.
You know what they say, right? Almost is not good enough.
Just for you.
Looks like the other side that you thought didn't have a problem doesn't want to doesn't want to go in.
Fine, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Oh. Oh, there goes the old attitude adjuster.
See it fit on there like a glove. Tight glove. Goes on and off easy now.
Hopefully, we'll see the second go. Nice.
Form fitted. Two important tools in Harleys.
Trusty tools.
This helped too.
I think the mallet did more than that.
No, it's not part of it. It's flathead part. We're doing flathead work. Special tool, special application. Hopefully it didn't affect our clearances too much. Where's your nuts?
Yeah.
What, you didn't bring any nuts with you?
The ones I brought with me you can't use.
What about your washers? No nuts, no washers?
Nope. Let's just go with new.
New?
Yeah, it's what you like to hear. It's more money in your pocket.
These ones over here that we're not using yet?
I mean, yeah, sure.
I said not yet. Those are factory ones. We're not using those either.
Use ones.
These non-factory ones that are really tall. Full heights. Full holding power.
Nice.
Torque it more. Where's your washer? Where's your nut? What do you use on the other guys? See how we did his?
With no washers?
So we use nuts?
Nuts with no washers?
We use nuts, so we do nuts.
How about pants?
You didn't bring your lockout nuts. Maybe I use my mock-up nuts. More of those grade 5 nuts I just bought. I bought 100 of these. I'm gonna run out of these things working these mock-up panheads around here. How many we got?
Enough.
Is that enough?
You got
It's a good
16?
thing it's a good thing I bought some mock-up nuts for you. We don't use crappy ones. We got grade 5. See how we got the hashes in there?
Yeah.
These are grade 5 mock-up nuts. I got tired of those crappy mock-up nuts that strip out and you mock them up.
When you mock them up.
Yeah. So these are good nuts. You gotta make sure you put the mock-up nut grade 5 hash marks up so you know they're good ones and not the plain side like that everybody looks like they have. That way when you walk by we can see you got the good ones on there.
The step above the crappy ones.
That's right. Instead of the grade butter, we didn't go to the grade 8 because those are even more money. You're not worth that much money.
Eh.
No, I'm pretty sure. Somebody beat on that thread?
Probably.
Is that mock-up China nut not fitting on the correct American-made stud?
It's too much stud for it.
Or is that the one you dropped on the floor? I don't even want to start. I wonder. That's a tight one. Just think if I use those locking nuts over there, how tight those would be. That's why we're not going to put those on until the end. Sounds good, huh?
Yeah, I mean.
Lock up torque. So you do the cross. Torque wrench. It doesn't move, it's not good. That one's not good. It doesn't move. That doesn't move either. Okay, we got problems. Here's your mock-up. Doesn't work very well.
Sure we got the right ones and the right one, the right arms and the right ones.
This one is. No clearance in that thing. It's a 61 motor with her tight. We're loose. These have no clearance in them. You know, so I'll tell you this style it's bad.
Yeah, that's what I was realizing too. Still too tight though. A little play in there now.
Good clearance. See when you got cowl pins in these things, they still shift a little bit when you torque them.
So that's probably what happened then.
Well, it means we're really tight on our clearances. If they're loose, you wouldn't even notice it. We're not feeling really any clearance in these things.
But they'll wear a little bit more over time, right?
As long as you don't stick first, you're all right. See when you barely feel clearances on them.
You can hear that one a little bit, yeah. It's faint, but you could hear it.
It's about the same. You can feel it. It's about the same. You know, I can feel it. I can feel the numbers are pretty close.
Yeah.
It's just this block, this assembly here. These are aftermarket blocks. The dowels and stuff are loose. Everything's got clearance in it, so everything moves around a lot. So you have to make your adjustments in it to get clearances on things, which is easy with the customers don't like seeing, but it is what it is. This one's pretty tight. I don't think this one's going to loosen up enough to matter. This column's not loosening up. When it won't move at all, these you won't loosen up. That's tight.
Interesting. That one has the most now. But even factory ones, would you have to do that occasionally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every now and then.
So it's common.
Yeah. Usually after I hold them, they're pretty good, but in this case, no. But we've got pretty tight clearances and we're 1,500, so we know 1,500 is pushing the envelope for tightness right now. So these ones over here had 1.8.
Almost 2?
They're 1.5, 1.8. See, that's about the same as yours. This one's a little looser. The clearances are very similar, but see, he has Harley blocks. His alignment's a lot better. With Harley blocks, I rarely have a lot of lockup issues.
Okay.
Aftermarket ones, you do have quite a few. So he's got another 1/4 more clearance than you got, basically. And it makes all the difference in the world for alignment. But like I said, he's got Harley blocks, so you can hear the little clearance in there a little more. Now these were the 2 and 3 arms. So this is our worst arm here. This is the one that was tapered and out around and all screwed up. See, it's pretty tight. Actually, cheating came back and honed, sanded this about 4 swipes, the brass bottom one, to tighten it up. I didn't re-hone it, so it took up, because it had a lot of clearance in it. It was like 1.8 to 1.9, almost 2. So now I tightened it up probably about, the 6 area. But they don't bind.
So do you think these are good as is, or we should probably hone a little bit more?
I think we got to bang them when we put them on. Like I say, I torque them down lightly, beat them, that centers them up, and then torque them.
Gotcha.
And then come back and hit them a couple more times back and forth each way. You hit it this way and then hit it this way.
Center them up.
And sometimes they go side to side. Sometimes it gets worse when you hit it. If it does, don't hit that direction, dummy. Hit it the other way. And then at least loosen back up.
Gotcha.
So, what I don't like is you hear that grinding noise.
It's almost the same noise.
On this side it does, on this side it doesn't. That's because the machine surface, the arm is not very smooth.
So it's digging in a little bit.
Yeah. And that's just going to have to wear in.
That's just the face of it too, though.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's how it's made. So, anyway, so this head here, which we on the front head, there's got some issues on bolting together. But once you loosen here, once you beat on it a little bit, it's pretty
Got some play, yeah.
Side to side we had more gap, but see, we honed it, it's round because there's so much surface area on there you're not going to be, even though it's got a low spot, it's like a groove right there, and the rest of it's round, so you don't really feel the groove. The oil will squirt down the groove a little more, but that's about it. because it feels pretty even all the way around on the clearance. It's pretty tight. There's not a lot of clearance in there. So 1,500 is definitely pushing the envelope on our torques, or I mean clearances. Definitely want to be any tighter than that. So I think 1.6 to 1.7 is probably
A happy spot.
yeah. Well, 1.5 to 1.7 is probably 1 to 1 3/4 is probably where we want to be at. When you get up to 2, you definitely get a little more clearance. There's no doubt about it. So clicking noise starts getting in.
Is there any pros to having more clearance other than it?
Yeah, that's that noise right there.
Yeah.
Then it dumps more oil pressure you don't have. The top end's unregulated pressure, so it just whatever the pump builds up,
What it's gonna.
it has to back up here before it'll build pressure. So you have a low volume pump like stock is, you have you don't have a lot of room to blow a lot of oil off. Now your motor, we got a different, you got a cone motor, so you have a bigger oil supply than the old cast iron pump. So you got more volume. So you'll build pressure sooner than if you had an old panhead pump in there. What year's the motor? 73?
73, yeah.
So 73, you got the revised oil gallery system feed. So I think that's the first year of the split feed. So the oil pump has to build up pressure before it feeds the crank.
Okay.
On the early motor, 72 on back, there's only one gallery for everything. So the crank sucks all the oil out. The crank's a big siphon. The higher the RPM, the more it pulls the oil, siphons it out. It's a centrifuge.
Yeah.
So there's unregulated centrifuge, it just sucks all the oil out the motor has. So you have to restrict the feed line. That's why you got to use a side oiler pinion shaft.
Mm.
If you put an end oiler on it, it just sucks everything and never gets top end whenever you get any oil. It'll run dry. Except at very high RPM, or if you have a big aftermarket pump on it, it will still have no oil pressure at low speed. About 1,500 RPM, it builds up to 0. Above that, it starts building up. You get to about 2,000 RPM, it spikes up to about 20 pounds pretty quick. But it goes from 0 to 20, about between 1,500 and 2,000. So under 1,500, you got no oil pressure. Crank's taking it all. And top end doesn't get anything until high RPM. So the split feed system's a lot better. Now, I have not modified cases yet to do a split feed, because I'm not sure what I have to do to make it work, but that will be one of the tricks I'll do on my bikes whenever I build the whole motors up. I'll figure out how to do it. Just gotta go in there and plug up some holes, redo some passages. Alright, so these are definitely snug, so we don't get too much more than we got. The next thing is, how is our sweep on our valves here? It's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Looks like it makes nice contact all the way through and through.
Yeah, I was, see it's sliding a lot. That's sliding that hole. You have a lot of sliding going on. It rolls across right there, and then see it starts to slide. See how that slides?
Yeah.
High lift it slides. You can't really get away from all of that, but see how it slides? So you're not too bad right there. About halfway you're alright. And then right there on, it just slides across. That's why this rocker arm gets the double wear mark on it. It rolls a little bit, and then it slides real heavy on the tip. So it gives you a hard line between sliding and rolling. So I think yours are relatively decent. We'll have to mock them up and see what the actual wear part is, because we want to make sure it has a nice flat surface. So if these things aren't flat, which they're probably not, then we'll have to grind them. So we'll probably grind them. We're going to grind them anyway, but it looks like the angles are relatively decent. As long as it doesn't go over the edge and dig in the side of the valve, which this one looks like it might be getting out there pretty far.
Yeah, it gets close to the edge.
Yeah, if it rubs across, then you got to change the angle from this to like that.
Mm.
It'll stop it from digging in. This one scrubs a lot. Half it down. From here on, it just scrubs real heavy. So if you go down here, see how it scrubs right off. See, the harder lift, the more it gets, see? That'd be hard on the old train. See, I run high lifts like that, you don't, see?
Or we're gonna do somewhat of it.
The problem is this valve needs to be, rocker arm needs to be way up here. This valve needs to be a lot longer. You want to be 90 degrees to valve at half lift. So there's half lift right there. That's about 90 degrees. So how far is the old valve open? That's about right there. It's about the 100th thou up. From there on, it's bad. You're over center. So that's why you got about 200th thou where it's kind of rolling, and then the last part just scrubs like crazy because the rocker arm's in the wrong spot. Should be way the hell up here.
So we're gonna have to build that one up.
No, the valve tip needs to be way up there, not the rocker arm. The pivot's right here. It's a sweet spot. You want to be right equal. Now you can fudge it one way or the other, gain different advantages. Because as you move it off center, it changes how the valve opens and closes and the wear points. So, but for street application, you want everything 50-50, so it's the most economically good. On a race motor, you got really, really high valve spring tension. You want the scrubbing to be early and not late. Because early, you only get a couple hundred, 200 to 300 pounds of pressure. When you're way out wide open, you got 500-600 pounds pressure. Which one's going to wear more?
The 5 6.
Right. So you want to be more rolling at the very peak, not sliding.
It's not sliding. Okay.
So if you put a lash cap on here, it will help. But a lash cap's only 100 thou tall. So. And they're a pain in the ass, and they fall off every now and then if you don't put them in right. But, so basically, you need a lot longer valves, which they don't make. So that's the problem with panhead rocker geometry. It sucks. So you make it do the best you can what you got. So overall, these rockers work halfway decent. These are a lot better than what they used to be in the old days, but we'll still have to sweep these and see what they really are. All right, that's what they looks for now. I'm going to go do some honing and get back to these.